Hey everyone, it's time to bake a cake, and today's recipe is this Mexican chocolate cake. This cake is rich and chocolatey with just a hint of spiciness. It's super moist and it's got a really nice chocolate glaze to top it all off. So to make this, you're going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour into a large mixing bowl, and then 1 cup of unsweetened natural cocoa powder. Then add 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and 1½ teaspoons of baking soda, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. And now you're going to add in the spices, which is 2 to 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and you can decide how much to add. I've tried 2 or 3 teaspoons, and I think I actually prefer 3 teaspoons. So now this next step is optional. This is ground cayenne pepper, and I like to add in 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. It's not a lot, it's just enough to give it a little bit of a warmth to it, but you don't have to do this. But it's not going to make the cake spicy hot. It just kind of brings out the chocolate flavors and gives it a little bit of spiciness. All right, now I'm going to add in 1 cup of packed light brown sugar, and then 1 cup of regular granulated sugar. And then just take a whisk and whisk that all up really well, and it helps to kind of dig in there and kind of get the lumps out of your brown sugar. So set that to the side, and then in a smaller bowl, we're going to add all of our liquid ingredients. So start with a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and then add about a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and then 1 cup of buttermilk. And you want this to be close to room temperature. You don't want it to be cold because cold ingredients kind of clump up on each other. Also, if you don't have buttermilk, don't use regular milk. You want to use something with an acid in it. So if all you have is regular milk, just fill your cup up with regular milk. Take 1 tablespoon out and replace that tablespoon with either white vinegar or maybe lemon juice and mix that up. That way you kind of have a sort of acidic milk that is a little bit of a substitute for buttermilk. And then you want to add 3 large eggs and make sure those are near room temperature as well. And then 1/4 cup of melted unsalted butter, and you want to have it melted, but you don't want it super hot. And then take a whisk and make sure that you mix everything up really smooth. So now you're just going to pour the liquid ingredients into the dry ingredients, and I moved my dry ingredients into my actual mixer bowl here. So just dump all of those liquid ingredients in there, and then you're going to start the mixer on medium. And I'm going to show you in real time how long I mix, because I know that that can seem to be a problem, that people aren't just sure exactly how long to mix. And you don't want to mix very long on scratch cakes, or they can come out very dense and sort of a gummy texture. So I'm going to actually just show you here exactly how long that I mix. So it's definitely not even a minute long. I think some people are under the impression you have to mix it for a couple of minutes. No, you can do that on box mixes, but you really do not want to do that on scratch cakes, because it will overdevelop the gluten in the flour, and that's what makes your cakes kind of dense and gummy, and they might even fall after they're baked. So I'm just scraping down the sides and the bottom of the bowl, and then we're going to mix again. And then again, I'm just showing you exactly how long, so it's just a few seconds. And now I'm going to add in a cup of hot coffee. Now, don't panic. If you don't have coffee or you don't like coffee, just use really hot water. You just need it to be a hot liquid here. So just add that, and then I also like to sort of wrap my mixer. If you have a stand mixer, this works. If you have a hand mixer, you can use a hand mixer, but it might just be a little bit messier. But this kind of keeps the water from just slinging completely out of the bowl here. So I'm showing you again in real time how long I mix it, and I just mix it on low enough to kind of get the water or the coffee incorporated, and then you can take the plastic wrap off and then just mix it just a few more seconds longer. And then, as always, I'm scraping the side and the bottom of the bowl again, and then I'm just going to mix for just, a few more seconds here, maybe about 10 seconds or something like that. Not very long. You just want it to be just well combined. And that's it. So next you want to pour your batter, and it's going to be pretty thin batter, pretty liquidy. You want to pour that into a bundt pan and make sure that the bundt pan is greased and floured really well so that the cake doesn't stick. And you're going to bake this at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 to 45 minutes. Ovens will vary, and make sure that your oven is preheated very well. All right, so once it's done baking, set it on the cooling rack to cool for maybe about 15 minutes or so. And then after 15 minutes, you want to flip it upside down onto your cooling rack, and then you want to leave it there to let it cool completely that way. And another step that I really like to do is just to add a little bit of a paper towel on the top and kind of soak up a little bit of that shortening that got onto the top of the cake from when I greased the pan. You don't have to do this. I'm not really sure that's necessary, but for some reason it makes me feel a little bit better. But anyway, after that, you can just leave it there to cool while you make the glaze. So to make the glaze, you're going to add about 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips to a saucepan, and then you want to add in about 1/4 cup of just regular milk. Regular milk works great for me. So once you add that, you just want to heat it over low medium. You don't want to boil it, and you don't want to get it hot too fast because it will scorch the chocolate. So you basically just want to melt it in the saucepan. And make sure to melt it until it's all melted and smooth, and you can add a pinch of cinnamon to it if you want to. You might let it sit up just a little bit so it will thicken up, and then you can add it straight to your cooled off cake. I really love the combination of the chocolate and the cinnamon and even a little bit of that warmth from the cayenne pepper. It's so good. I really encourage you to try a little bit of the cayenne pepper. It's not going to make it spicy hot or anything like that. It just gives it just a nice little interest to it. So if you make this, I'd love to know what you think about it. I've also added the recipe link to the description, and if you go to that link, there's also a metric button on the recipe card there, so you can click that button and it will change it to metric measurements if you need that. Okay, y'all, happy cake baking, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.